was very wrong. All through high school and college, if you would have asked me, I would have said that I was going to be the CEO of a giant, badass company. And I even went around telling people I was going to be a captain of industry. I don't even think I knew what that meant, but it sounded cool. So I really thought that I was going to go that route. And unfortunately, my track record showed otherwise. My first job that I remember, I was working at a Vitamin World in the mall, and it was like straight out of a sitcom. I had a buddy come in one day and he's like, "There's no surveillance cameras in here." I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, why don't you steal some stuff from me?" And eventually he convinces me to steal a bunch of supplements so he can get yoked. And next thing I know, I take these home and immediately feel unbelievably guilty. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I have to sneak these back into Vitamin World. So the next morning I snuck into Vitamin World before my boss got there, placed all of these products back on the shelves perfectly, and then felt so guilty that I fired myself. Second job at Compass Bank. This one was their fault, I swear by. Maybe not, who knows now. But it was really awful, and I decided that I had had enough, so me and my buddy decided to go through the drive-through of the bank and press the little intercom button, and I said, "Jan?" "Yes." I quit, and I sent my keys up through the little shooty tube thing, and that's how I quit. So, and I still thought I was going to be CEO of a big, cool company. That's just what I thought I was going to do. So I worked really hard through college to get into commercial real estate investing, transacting buildings not unlike this. And I did really well, got my absolute dream job, I thought, straight out of college. I packed up everything to move to Ontario, California for a sweet gig with CB Richard Ellis. And I got there. I was holed up in an extended stay America across from the office. I did the whole dress up thing, wore a suit for the first time pretty much, and went into the office and got there my first day. I'm all gung-ho. I'm thinking the world's gonna change. And I get there and it's a bunch of dudes that looked very tired, very zombie-like, and basically sat around all day doing nothing. And then like once a day, they'd get on the phone with a buddy and they'd be like, "Hey, I have a big empty building. Do you want it?" And they'd be like, "Sure." And that was pretty much it. So being errantly decisive, 2 weeks into it, I was like, all right, the universe is clearly telling me something. Vitamin World didn't work. Compass Bank didn't work. CB Richard Ellis is not working. Maybe I'm not going to be a captain of industry. So I walked into the managing director's office, and most awkward conversation of my life, because I think some 4,000 people had applied for this job and only like 5 got it. And I walked in there and I said, "I have to go." And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, I need to go. I'm not going to work here anymore. She said, "What are you going to do?" "I don't know." She said, "Okay, good riddance." So I packed everything up, moved back to Arizona, showed up at my parents' house, and they're like, "You're back." And I was like, "Yeah." "Got a new job?" "No." "Gonna live with us?" "Yes." And next thing I know, I had no idea what I was gonna do with my life. And if you would have asked me in high school if I would have been an entrepreneur, I would have told you, "You're absolutely insane. It's too big of a risk. I'm gonna go the straight and narrow and get success that way." Never would I have dreamed of it, but now I had no choice. So I fell back on what I knew, which was leadership presentations for high school groups. And I was at a camp doing just that, and totally got smacked up the side of the head by fate. And a teacher that I knew was talking to me about a trip to New York that she was planning for her students. And they really wanted to go on this trip, but it had sold out. And as she's telling me this, the wheels start to turn, and I said, "I'll plan your trip." And she's like, "You will?" And I was like, "I guess." And she's like, "All right." So next thing I know, I have 100 high school students following me through New York for 5 days, having never been to New York, which was daunting to say the least. And by some miraculous power, no kids got lost, stolen, or anything else. I have no idea how, but it was absolutely a hit, and the business kind of took off from there, and suddenly I was a student travel company. But then that voice inside my head, that discontent, kind of started knocking again, and I thought to myself, well, this kind of sucks. I was an Air Force brat growing up, so I had all these cool opportunities to go all around the world, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna have a travel company, I wanna be taking kids to the far reaches of the world, to China, to Australia, wherever, and we're going to Orlando and New York. This is dumb. And then a couple months later, we had a trip to New York, and it was a school from the Navajo reservation. And most of these kids hadn't left the reservation, let alone the state. And one night while we're there, we go to Rockefeller Center to ice skate. It's nighttime, it's beautiful. And the kids are skating around, and just then, for the first time on the trip, and for the first time, I think, in their lives, it started to snow. And you see them all stop skating and look up, and their eyes just burst open. Absolutely burst open with possibility. And it was in that moment that I realized what we're great at, what EXP Trips is great at, is being kids' first experience with travel. So while we might not take them to China or somewhere else far in the world, we show them travel in a way that makes them want to go there. So when they are there, we'll know it all started with me and us at EXP.